他们在说龙形机甲，然后是战神机甲，然后是欧美战神的机甲。
There are 3 robots. We're going to release 2 at first, but there's going to be a 3rd one a little bit later on. So
说有新的3部机体，先试出2部机体，另外一部机体要稍微之后再试出。那么现在这2部机体，一个是黑锤和这个，黑锤现在介绍的是黑锤。
Soldiers, have you ever wished for a robot that could shoot from 4 heavy weapons simultaneously? As always, best engineers of defense and security conglomerate make all your dreams come true.
说最好的那个工程师已经研发出了这个4个重型武器的机甲。
But what happens when you press the ability? 1, 2. Behemoth digs into the ground, unfolding 2 extra arms. You cannot move in this mode, but should you even care? While boasting 4 heavy dragoons or fluxes,
你看，全是我喜欢的配置嘛，一个是大激光，一个是龙炮。我靠，一炮死啊！这也太痛了。
Against moving adversaries, as long as they are in direct sight. Important note to everyone seeing behemoths in their platoon: protect them at all cost. That will positively affect your DSC's social appreciation score. Not to mention that together.
这简直就是 boss 机啊！太恐怖了。现在这个应该就是幻影机体了。485现在太疯狂。幻影机。
Let's see how it works. By using the ability, Phantom leaves a small device behind.
就说他现在介绍他的能力，会首先在这里创建一个信标，移动到这里的时候再瞬间回去这个地方。现在就是实体作战效果，会加速，然后瞬间消失。哎呦，它有消失的特效是不是？哎，它有消失特效的哇，这个很好看。为什么要加马赛克？为什么要加马赛克？我跟你讲，不用想，肯定是电喷，100%是电喷，想都不用想。
Attention, some opponents may feel like they are lagging when they fight you. This is very much by design.
我靠，这也太骚了，这个换来换去。
Well, that might turn into something fun. I wonder how people will use this walker. Now, evil life, go on, entertain me.
这是啥？这是啥机体啊？哎，这是新的4个重型武器机甲的机体，这是什么东西啊？嗯？刚刚那个肯定不是黑锤，是另外4个重型武器的这个新的机甲，那么也就是第3个机甲，那么这是之后才会发布的这么一个机体。哇，这太刺激了！我靠，我一定要那一架机体，4个电喷会怎么样？恐不恐怖
？A cup of coffee.
Cup of decaf, just to say. It's important to mention coffee. That is not going to pump me up in any way, but actually I'm excited to speak about this. So you begin.
So what's so special about these robots?
So
现在开始介绍这几个机体的特殊能力。
I don't know.
Okay. So
who's the hero? Maybe tank or maybe damage dealer?
So there are two things that I'm going to specify about these robots. First, this pack is different. Why? Obviously thematically, because before we were trying to, and we actually based our robots
他们在讲为什么要开发这几个机体
like real world themes, like some cultural things, like for example, our June, our Guang and dragons in general are based around like Chinese dragons.
那个白龙、青龙、
dragons.
Yes.
Dragons 就是龙的意思。
Yes, and like
Pantheon,
they are all built around Greek mythology, but these 3 robots that you could see, like in this case 2, they're all inside the game lore. So they are made by in-game factions that we introduced like with pilots back then. And the first one, Behemoth, is for DSC, like Defense and Security Conglomerate, which is basically the faction of like really big buff dudes that are like,
在讲黑锤的体
they're
系
like professional soldiers, right? And
soldiers 不会又是有新的这个驾驶员要出来
faction of like that is they are basically cyborgs. They use all the different kind of body modifications. They have like all these like beautiful steel hands, metal arms. Yeah, they can use it like to grab things like this cup of coffee. I'm going to take a sip so to slow down a little bit. And then this is the first part of this thing. So we had a lot of fun like devising like this
他们在讲这个设计这些的东西一些有趣的事情。
It's some kind of like satirical in a way, but we still wanted to show the characters of this.
他们想展示一下这个角色。
Anyway, the second thing that is different for these robots. Before, when we were coming up with new ideas for new robots, we were playing around with some things that, like, for example, wouldn't it be cool to make the robots with like huge shields that they can bring with them in the battle? Or wouldn't it be great to have a robot that can fly, or a robot that can repair other robots, and so on and so forth? This time we went with more like in-depth approach in that asking ourselves the question like what kind of robots, what kind of roles we actually need to fill with the new robots.
You mean special niches?
Yes, this kind of stuff. So before if you remember, we had like
他们还是在讲这个机体的一些什么特性，但是其实最核心的东西刚刚我们都已经结束。
Come up with a new categorization for robots, and we are using a lot of data in what kind of playstyles people use their robots in. So for example, if we take a bulwark, initially we conceived this robot as a tank. But our data shows that people tend to put more of a long-range weapons on this robot and use it as a sniper. And
他就是说，根据这个游戏的数据得知，就很多玩家喜欢缩在后面当个缩，就是拿个远程机体当个狙击手这样子。所以说他们研发了这个4个重型武器的这么个机甲。到底是谁创造这个缩在那里的数据啊？是不是只有少数人喜欢冲那些？果然。
I talk about this like way too much. So for example, we have snipers, we have saboteurs, basically robots that deal some damage, but they also put a lot of emphasis on their movement abilities. So for example, we can take Pursuer. It's more of a saboteur, but it also links to another class, which is basically damage dealer. Spectre, Ares, they are all damage dealers. They are focused around.
他们在讲4B能造成更多的伤害，但是生命值比较低。
And there are some other classes that I'm not going to go in depth because we still are like making theories what kind of classes that actually make sense. But anyway, if we take
就是说他们还在讨论
where do they fit?
最后一部机体的这个到底要不要发布啊，或者是讨论一些细节性的东西啊，还有说怎么样才比较合理性，然后就平衡一点的这样。
Let's imagine that you ask me that.
我就不发表了。
Okay, where do they fit? Where? So Behemoth is obviously a sniper. It's similar to Fury, but it has one obvious downside that it has to stay stationary to use all the 4 heavy weapons that it has. I mean, 4 heavy weapons is a lot. Is a ton of firepower. It's way more than you could ever have on your Spectre, which also has 4 heavy or medium weapons. It's a lot, but 4 heavy weapons, that's much more.
It's a huge firepower.
Yes, but you still have to stay stationary to use it effectively. And this is, on one hand, it's a downside, but if you know how to use this robot, for example, using the protection from your team, you can be like a huge powerhouse.
Yeah. You mean like if you're playing in a squad with your professional teammates who can protect you, and so
他们这个是理想型的机体，就是说 队友会去保护你这个4个重型武器的一个人。我决定一定要在这个游戏里面创造一个标志，就是只有我用这个技能是最强的，那么这样他们就有人保护我了，我的理想世界。
Vendetta after that. They're going to hate me after that, but okay, this is the robot, the first robot, the sniper.
So,
and the second robot.
The second robot is just very awesome. It's a phantom.
Yes, as you know, I'm a huge fan of all the wonky robots that you can do some plays that instantly go to YouTube. Like, look how he uses his strider to screw up with the whole
他们说这个器件如果你会用的话，能直接投影到这个油管上面。这是什么冷笑话？
Okay, Phantom. It's
好，他们现在在讲这个幻影机体。
It has some, it has good firepower, 2 light, 1 medium slot, but the key power of this robot is its ability.
Yeah.
So
Translocator.
Let me anyway, the translocator.
Just imagine, we have a translocator here, and we have a Stan. Stan is far away from.
We haven't released this robot yet, so yeah. I doubt he will come back. But after 5.3, we can bring Stan back any time. Anyway,
with the help of translocator.
The translocator it is great in that regard that it unlocks a huge potential for playmaking. For example, in the For example, let's use. I don't think that we will ever need this phone on the stream like ever again. So I'm going to use it like as my like material to show how everything works. So for example,
他们在举例，用实体举例怎么传送。
This is Phantom, and this thing. Do people see it? Yes. Oh, okay. See, this is Phantom. Phantom leaves the translocator and runs away from, like, for example, Ares. And then Ares like, ooh, I'm Ares, I'm going to kill you. And then it steps on the translocator, goes, and then Phantom just teleports on the place on the translocator, for example, under the dome of Ares absorber. And then it just goes like ham on it.
我觉得吧，这个幻影机如果真的要出来的话，一定要加一个类似于像后视镜这样的东西，或者说是出现一个小地图，在小地图上面出现一个这个地图的一个位置，到底能有哪些机体在这里，否则会不知道发生什么事情。我觉得这个不能有，要做这么一系列的一个更新，不然的话看不到就麻烦。
of me and my robots, and I can get rid of this hat immediately.
Oh no lore anymore.
No lore? I mean, we can add some lore, but we'll get back to this like later.
Yeah.
If there are only questions.
So, are you ready to move on?
You got coffee.
So, let's move on. And we also have a rebalance.
一个平衡的东西。那我们平衡的东西，其实我们有中文版，我们已经那个早在发在我们新闻区了，所以我们稍微准见，我们一边听一边看的这个东西。
So where do you want me to begin?
I'd like to ask you what's going on. What tweaks?
That's a great question. I have no idea, you know. I'm sorry.
So, let's begin with.
I had to do this.
Let's begin with Orcans.
哦，他们现在在讲轰炸，那我们直接上我们官网。等一下，我给各位开一下我们这个官网。
I'll go through the main points here because there's another thing that we also discussed at the beginning of the year that we're going to have like not regular rebalances. I mean, not every single update. But like once in 3 months or so. So this is the time for our summer rebalance, and yes, this is something that people really want to hear from us about Archons, Ghasts, and Terrans.
So can you explain the main idea of this rebalance? So why did we choose Archons and Terrans?
So
what did they do?
What did they do wrong?
Why them?
So the point is, with Arcan and Ghasts, these weapons are very prominent everywhere in all leagues.
好的，这么现在就是我们的网站。
They are very like versatile. You can use them in every single situation and still be effective.
这东西拖不下去，
Many other items they are more niche, and the thing is you don't even need to consider other weapons when you have Orcans. So we want people to use more of the different items, and this is why we are pushing these items into more.
他们现在在讲黄炸，右下角已经说出了黄炸这个东西。
Around the same DPS with Arcan and Gust, but the point is you have like lesser time frames in which you are going to shoot. Like for example, before we had the pattern like rocket, reload. Now you have reload, and like this way before you shoot longer, but reload longer as well. Now you shoot less, but reload faster as well. So you can just go for hit on ground mode and fight, deal damage, and then go back.
So we decrease the capacity.
We decreased the capacity, but increased the reload speed. We decreased reload time. We improved reload time.
Yep.
Yes. So the point is, we want to give
没有办法
people
给
who
各位
face
看到这
lots of
个
Orcans to
网
give
站上的更新，那么各位看我们网站就行。
more chances to fight back. So you, instead of just continuously shooting against the enemy, both on Gust and Orcan,
instead of sustained damage,
you go for like short bursts of time. You shoot, you reload, you go back, you shoot again. So this is the point, this is what we want to achieve with this thing. With Terran, there's a little bit different thing because it actually lost some DPS in the process. We increased the delay between shots to make it so you have to stay, you have to have your enemy inside for a little bit longer, so it is more of a sustained weapon. Yes, this is going to be like a quite controversial change because when we, for example,
算了，我这个东西搞不定，那我就直接给别人介绍一下吧。那么刚才黄炸改了什么东西呢？黄炸改了这个黄炸弹药下降至25，然后完全填充冷却时间下降至20秒。那么它的这个整一个就改弱了呀。 他们现在在讲中火是什么？中火射击延迟上升至0.15秒，也就是说射速会慢一点。爆发这个延迟上升是0.9秒，就是啪啪啪的那个声音，就啪啪啪，可能会变成这个样子。
This is not the point. Like we are not going to make Orcans or Terrans or Gas like completely useless. They're still very strong, but they are just for different kinds of situations.
Yes. Different niche.
Anyway, we will still have time to buff them back if something goes wrong. We still had a lot of like testing.
我给各位在 B 站这里放一个这个链接吧。那么各位就可以，不给我们复制。
Changing system, so.
Yes, so we're giving it like a slight notch.
不给复制，那么链接各位可能就复制不来了。那我们这里稍微断开一下吧，看看断开有没有用。
Great weapons like stings, wasps, vipers, and
others, 断开没有用。
and they just don't use them because why even bothering? Once again, it's not about just making these weapons useless; it's making them a little bit more different.
Yeah.
So to the next things, less controversial ones.
Terrans.
好吧，搞不定。
I just told you about it.
Yeah, Terrans. Why Terrans?
Let's just go to Raven.
Yeah, because you can equip your Raven with Terrans. That's why I mentioned Terrans.
You wanted to make a smooth segue.
Yeah.
二段挖也会改变吗？
I'm a terrible person, you know. So, Raven.
二段挖也会改变吗？我们这里没有收到消息，我们即刻去他们官网上看一看。
So Raven, what are we doing with Raven? Raven is a great robot for
what?
For what? For doing trick jumps, for example.
For jump.
Yes.
For capturing beacons.
Yes, this kind of stuff. But the thing is, we designed initially Raven as some kind of like very mobile, very high risk, high reward robot. It can jump in, it can immediately jump out, and so on and so forth. But at this point, if you want a similar playstyle, you might want to go with, for example, Falcon. because it also can jump in and do a lot of damage, but it's
跳跃能力的修改。那么有用二段挖的朋友们可能要注意一下，这个连二段挖都改。
So Falcon for the similar playstyle is a much safer choice. So that's why we are giving a Raven a reason to jump in rather than bounce out. We are adding to the ability. Every time you jump, you receive a plus 20% damage increase for 8 seconds.
哇！当你跳的时候，你会提升20%的伤害8秒钟，20%的伤害8秒钟，这太恶心了呀！那我跳2次，是不是提升40%的伤害，持续16秒钟 ？Oh my god!
But it is still a pretty significant increase, especially if you're going with, say, arcanes or other weapons. We also increase the durability of Raven and a little bit give them a little bit of speed. So with pilots, I believe it's going to be a really strong pick. If you have one, maybe it's a good time to start practicing your skills with jumping in, jumping out, and so on.
Okay. And another one.
My favorite
another one robot is Ares.
Not just Ares, actually. There's
下一个是阿瑞斯。
What are we going to do?
那我们这里直接讲一下吧，阿瑞斯改了什么东西？阿瑞斯开启技能以后，速度下降33%，技能冷却上升到18秒。那么这是一个这个怎么来着？这一次什么来着？更新。哎 ，nerf 的这个中文翻译叫啥来着？削弱，对，阿瑞斯完全被削弱。
We're looking for some place where we can add some counterplays, some ways to fight it with some tactics and some skill. So the solution came from the absorber itself. I mean, when you turn on the absorber, you always get like ultimate defense. You always receive like extra damage.
好，那么在这里他就是来讲一些。为什么要改这个东西？那我们直接说重要的信息了，就不给各位翻译这些没有什么太大用的东西。那我再重复一下，阿瑞斯开启技能以后，速度下降33%，技能冷却上升至18秒。
On one hand, it will still be the Ares, the one you know and love, but it will give other players
an opportunity
to fight you actually. So, for example, if you have like
说之所以削弱，是因为想给其他玩家有机会反抗阿瑞斯，否则就根本没办法打。
We also gave this thing to Nemesis and Hades in a slightly lower degree because they're slower than Ares. They slow down by 20%, not 33%. And we also buff their durability and give them a little bit of movement speed, just to make them more on par with Ares. So if you won, for example, in event, being that Nemesis or Hades, or like Imperial Hades, which is great, but not used all that much lately, you can get more use from these robots if you want.
So, it's not a full list of our tricks.
There's one more.
Yep.
Let's talk about it.
You mean user-generated content?
No, I mean last freaking stand.
Oh no! Oh no!
Okay,
no,
last stand.
他们在讲 last
My
stand，
favorite thing.
就是那个死亡免疫
makes you
免疫刺这个词。
invincible. I mean the change that we made actually to last stand. The idea about changing.
我们 last stand 改了个什么呢 ？last stand 改了这个。所有人会提前知道这架机体有 last stand 效果。
Yeah, maybe you remember his video from I guess he posted it on January about
话是有
last
点
stand.
低啊，是怎么回事情？
So it was about last stand indicator.
So yes, the thing about last stand is that I believe this is what scares most people like the most, is that you never know when the enemy has last stand.
Yeah.
I mean,
whether it is activated or not.
Yes. Your best bet is just to play like enemy always has last stand and just play around it. So this is what makes last stand so strong and so what's the right word? Like insidious in a way. And instead of like
再重新讲一下 ，Last Stand 是改了一些什么东西，所有人会提前知道这架机体到底装了没有这个 Last Stand。
that would allow you to fight around it, to play around it. So
it's all about mind games.
We can show it on the screen, I believe, right?
Yep.
So right now, if the enemy has the last stand, you can see it on the enemy's durability bar. If this part of the durability bar is tinted by like the darker tone, it's clearly the case of enemy having the last.
Yeah.
Like right now, the person just I'm playing against used phase shift module, which is also going to be released in 5.3. And now, as you see, like these arrows, we can just go a little bit back to illustrate this.
Yeah.
Like you see here, in a second. Yeah, let's go from shift, and I just damage him, and yeah, last stand activated. And you know that enemy has the last stand, and you know that now it is active, and now I can actually fight him and finish him off. So I believe. Our testing has shown that it actually changes a lot in the way how you approach the game, because the information that you have from this change allows you to, for example, bait the effect out and then hide, then wait until it's over, but you will actually know when you go back in the fight and finish the opponent.
Yeah. So it's wasn't the last thing?
I believe this is the last thing that we wanted to discuss this time. There are some other changes, like lesser changes, for example, Redeemer, I believe, a little bit. And you will see the full list of balance changes in the full patch notes that we're going to publish on the website. So stay tuned. We're going to publish them in the day of the release, which is going to happen once again. 5.3 is going to land in August.
Maybe in the middle of August.
In the middle of August. Yeah, this is a safe bet.
So.
Okay, so should we move to the thing people send us?
Yeah, not long ago we had a very interesting art contest. We asked people to choose their team, Linda Cano's team and Jane's team.
叫什么来着？叫驾驶员的这么一个技术路径竞赛比赛。
So, Linda Cano and
就是说琳达这个驾驶员
released with Among the Stars event in this exact update. So these two guys are like fire and water and so on and so forth. Anyway. There too are bounty hunters that, not just bounty hunters, they collect all the different things that are left on the Earth when people left it for Mars. Linda is more like an art geek, so she collects all the different art pieces and sells it for lots of money. And if we take Jad, he's more of like technology person, so he takes all the like pre-cataclysm robots that were created like long ago and also sells him for a huge fortune. And this is what we base this contest around, like from
就是他们在讲这个竞赛的一些讲细节。那么这个其实是什么东西呢？就可能各位已经在微博上可能已经看到了这个，就是这个艺术和技术比赛这样子。哎，我们之后也可以举办一个。
Giants and so on. So one thing that I can spoil for you that people mostly prefer Linda, maybe because she's a girl.
Maybe.
可能要开始展示这个作品。
Because it was art versus technology.
I believe this is. I came up with a good explanation for this. I mean, it's an art contest after all.
Yeah.
So
it's
I
an art contest. Yeah.
If it was like a technology contest, like create something and send it to us, like. Hope it won't be a bomb or something like this. I believe this is when Jad would win. Anyway, let's look at this. Let's look at the winners' works, right?
Yeah. Let's start with
这是我们国内
posters
的吗？
from Weibo platform.
微博。
China.
Yeah.
Let's just comment
哇，
it.
可以。
The first one.
It's about
What
Linda.
What does it say here?
It's about Linda 战队. It means
战
that
队。
East, actually.
it
It's-
means that it's Linda team.
可以啊，
It's
这个。
another one of the Lana's talents. I mean, I
No,
can
no,
just sit
it's not
here
my
in.
talent.
I can just sit here in. I mean, yes, it's a skill. Hardly like developed skill. And she can speak
可以啊，
3 languages, I believe. And I can sit here in a dumb hat and speak about lore and drink coffee, decaffeinated.
他在讲他拉娜能懂中文，
Let's
但是他不懂。
see all these awesome works.
So this one is
This one is from
这很像《时代》杂志封面
This。one is really. I mean, it looks like some kind of magazine.
Yeah.
对啊，
uh,
很
It's
像
like
杂
a
志封面。
fashion
magazine cover.
journal.
I'd say it's more like a gaming
Yeah.
journal. I mean,
Maybe
gaming magazine.
fashion gaming journal for girls.
For gamer girls.
For
Fashion for
geek-
gamer girls.
For geek girls.
Art geek girls.
Our geek girls.
I mean, it really looks like a magazine cover. This
Yeah.
one.
And this one looks
啊
like
，is the show of the Mac。
She's like some kind of religious figure.
Yeah.
She's
哇，
kind
这个
of-
有点意思啊，直接画出来了，
going
这个
to
水平有
take
点高。
you and show you like the way to what exactly?
I don't know.
To some kind of, I believe. What can you look for? To enlightenment. That's the right word. Let's go for the next
说
one.
不出话
Let's
来
go.
行。
So
This one in Russian.
yeah,
This one from Kontakte.
yeah. Sorry from Russian
哇，
platform.
有点像天命的感
The
觉。
words say,
不错
сражайся
不错，
за
有感觉有感
Линдакейно.
觉。
Жизнь коротка, путь искусства долг. So
The
it
life is
says,
short.
yes, so it says, fight for Linda Kano, the life is short, but the road of the art is long.
Yeah,
If it makes sense.
it's a torrent.
This is actually a really great one
So,
because you can see
这
here
个真的
there's
可
a
以。
terracotta army. This is
You
the
know
thing
what?
that's in the like story. This is what she was
There
after.
is one interesting point. So I see Mars and I see the Earth. So
Where is she
where
actually?
is she?
Maybe this is one of
Jupiter.
the maybe it's one of the Martian satellites
station,
like
yeah.
Phobos, Deimos, all
Yeah.
this stuff.
俄罗斯的这个创作是有点意思，
This one is a little bit
好像
like
变瘦
Swedish
了
girl,
这
a
个，
little bit.
It's like a
Like she looks like really thin here, but
是不是 是不是
I
说
love
变
the
瘦
choose
了？
of like symbols.
symbols and the color.
It's very girly.
Yeah, it's girly. And
Finally, we have
one
Jet.
Jet.
You go, Jet.
Yeah.
Jet
哇，
Park.
这个
Jet
很帅。
Parks
This one
from
is-
Jet team.
This one is really good. I mean,
Yeah. He looks so serious.
and I love how the portrait blends with the background. The choose of colors here is like really great. So it's a
Yeah.
great work.
这个不错，这个真的不错。
Wow.
Linda
Linda Kano and ancient Egypt.
So on top there are
有点意思。
again Russian words.
Yeah.
Охотники за историями, which means lore hunters.
Lore hunters, yeah. And this artwork is really awesome.
What's going on here? Oh, I now see
Is
it.
it a Game of Thrones?
Yeah, it's a Game of Thrones reference, either Game of Thrones or Warhammer reference.
Yeah, or Warhammer.
Because I mean, it took me some time to actually
So-
see what's going on here.
Yeah.
Because there are tons of like lines and they look like
It's
really
kind
chaotic.
of a philosophical history.
You know what it reminds me of? There was a time in the there was a time at the beginning of 20th century when there were a lot of great illustration artists for books. There were great people like Arthur Rackham, I believe there was a name, and lots of different people like Jon Bauer. And this one is like something from this exact period. It looks
Yeah.
great.
It looks great. Linda Kano saving Earth is
Saving Earth
I
可
can
爱型。
imagine that I
哇，
enter
这
some
些
kind of,
这
like,
些的
cathedral
想象力都
and I
可以
look。like there. I actually hate looking there because
just like I'm in Italy.
yes. So whenever I go into cathedrals and look upwards, I also
怎
get
么怎么感觉
always
让人
get
名
like
画上
very
头
dizzy
下来？
because
看了半天，我终
I
于想
instantly imagine that there are like figures on top,
Yeah.
and what would happen if someone would put me there? I would die of scare. So scary. I'll be that scared. Okay.
I've never thought about it.
Now you will. You will too.
这个有点像古里呀。
So the art is long, but life is short.
Once again, I really like the work with colors and like these flower patterns. They're great. This is amazing.
Yeah. Then another one.
Let's look at this another time. I just want to appreciate. Wow, it's a great one. Yes.
Yep. She looks cool.
Another one.
Another one is like a.
有点像电影封面。
Like a Avengers poster.
有点像电影封面。
Here we actually remember that the warrobots is actually a game about fighting robots.
Yeah.
There are robots, explosions, rockets everywhere, and the person.
Yeah.
Heroes make epic victories possible. Makes sense.
And this glamorous, very.
War is really glamorous.
No. Linda is very glamorous.
And she makes the war really glamorous.
So, next one.
Not a huge fan of that.
Next one.
But a huge fan of that work. It's great.
Wow,
Ooh.
it's just perfect.
The art will make you go like Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
The art will make you superhuman. The art will make volcanoes erupt. The art will make your eyes glow red. And maybe she's some kind of like, she looks great.
She reminds me a superhero.
Superhero. 超级英雄可爱型。
I believe this is something that would Jad fan would make. So
maybe it's because Jad has just stolen her. Has just stolen her maybe treasures.
And she's like very angry.
What's going on?
他们在说这个女的会特别生气，看上去，然后现在有点像强盗。
Actually, super villains are being made.
Yeah.
You just steal, like you kill someone's dog. It was a John Wick reference.
John Wick.
Let's keep going, shall we?
Yeah. Technologies.
I love this one.
Yeah.
Because keep going.
Why? Why do you like this one?
First of all, because this is not something. This is like a different take on Jad, because on his original portrait, he looks like somewhat cocky and somewhat arrogant.
他在讲为什么喜欢这个壁纸，是因为看上去你像是做一个自己的项目啊。觉得这个一般吧，没有之前那几个震撼。
Because the technology is the key to the future.
And he looks like the main character of a very cool cartoon.
Yeah, it's a very lovely visual style that the author has chosen. It's a great poster. I love it.
I love it too. So
was that the last one?
It was the last one.
Yeah, there were plenty of other works that people sent us, and these are like big winners, like the winners of all. And thank you for sending us all these beautiful posters, and that was great. Thank you. So should we move on to the questions? Because we're streaming for about 1 hour already, and we have some time for, I believe.
他说他们的这个直播已经1个多小时了。
So shall we see what I have? I've been trying to follow the chat through the entire stream, and people are still sending us their IDs. I believe these were like only one time per person. This doesn't increase your chances, guys. But still, I have found some questions. So the first one from Emilia Otarola. I'm trying to show it on screen. Will it work? Unfortunately, not this time, so I'm just going to read them out loud. So, Emilia Otarola asks us, what about Ragnarok Squad? Are you going to add it soon? I believe the question is about a workshop. Are we going to add the Ragnarok to like Tyr, Loki, Fenrir to our
那么现在是进入他们的赠礼环节了，跟我们没有关系。
And the answer is yes, we are going to add them to.
因为这一次的更新比较多，然后很多人会有这个疑问，所以我就做了一期直播，那么大家更为清晰。
When we are going to do this. I believe somewhere in between 5.3 and 5.4, but stay tuned for the news. the next question.
So, next question is, can you do a funny skirmish where Kazakhs are super tanky and invaders are the opposite?
This is like, okay. You have something to say?
他们现在在回答问题，那基本上就没有问题，这是属于互动情况。
It's very interesting idea.
他们在讲这个炸猪和别人对阵的时候是会赢，有没有觉得这句话似曾相识？
Ask them.
This is one of my favorite type of skirmishes where you have some kind of like.
他们在讲小冲突的这一
What if everything was like? What if we make the opposite of what we have right now? So, for example, we make invaders like huge. We had a skirmish with giant shoots and tiny spiders.
Yeah, and I remember one more crazy idea about when Fujins were just jumping.
Yes, I believe we had something like this, but I don't quite remember. But yeah, I think we can bring this idea to our game design team, and maybe they will introduce it in some future update. We also have
之后的更新，他们也会讲。
No, I'm not. I've been specifically said to not spoil it on this stream, so I won't. Anyway, Alexandre Rocha. I'm sorry if I butcher your name, but for this like person spelling the names that aren't like Alexander Ivanov is kind of so, anyway, I'm sorry if I butcher your name. So Alexander Rocha or Roja asks, what was the use of you increasing the time of the videos if also increasing the time of, I believe the question is about the ads in the game.
Yep.
So actually we wanted to talk about this and we kind of forgot at the beginning, so this is the time we actually addressed it. So what's going on with the ads?
Lots of people asked us about ads, what's going on.
My beautiful decaf coffee has, I finished it, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for interrupting you with this dumb stuff. This was like for some extra flashiness, so you can...
So what's going on with our ads? Is it a maintenance or...
Yes, we're currently having some kind of like behind the scenes work with ads, actually making them work as they should. And currently we set some kind of limit for the ads you can use watch daily, but also in the meantime we make different options, not options, but we increase the value of every single ad you can watch. So for example, before you had only 20 minutes reduced from upgrades, cut from upgrades for every single ad, but now you get 60 minutes, so full hour. So you watch 4 ads, you get 4 hours immediately like cut off. And we're going to play around, I'm not sure if play around is the right word here, but we're going to tweak these options over the course of the upcoming few years, so it's going to be a little bit shaky.
Yeah.
So it's not entirely set in stone, but if you see that something has changed, do not worry, we are not going to remove ads, we are not going to take what you get from your ads away. There's some behind the scenes work. There are some behind the scenes works, and we are fixing stuff with time.
We read your comments and we feel your pain. So.
And yes, our apologies for not telling you what's the right word before it actually happened.
For no information about it.
So now I believe we went through it. I hope this answered your question.
We covered this topic and I hope everything will be fine.
Let's keep going to the next question. The chat is very fast once again. I think we have time for like 2 or 3 more questions or posts. This one I like. Read it.
Okay. Stance performance here is a little flat.
Hashtag
dad jokes.
Nicholas Tange. So, I almost forgot about this thing. This is the... I really want to make another joke about this thing, but I believe this will be more dad than that. So, maybe I should actually embarrass myself just to make everyone feel better about themselves. So, but I
英语
forgot
6及
my
格还行
I。really forgot. I'm sorry about this. So the next question. Let's try to find some of these stuff in real time. This is going to be
Wow,
like masterclass.
What? 6,000 comments.
So what do we have here on YouTube? YouTube.
Nice Russian hat.
YouTube. Nice Russian hat. It's not. Well, let's say it's Russian. By the way, I forgot one thing. There was like further robots in the video, right?
Easter egg. Do you remember the last one creature, the weird monster in the end of the video?
You can just
哦，
rewind
他们在
back
讲
to
另外一架机
the
体。
moment when we have shown you the video about junior robots. There was
Even
actually
live
one.
fraction.
Yes, there was one little bit of the third robot that is going to be included into this exact pack, but it's going to be released a little bit later. So,
哦，这个机体有点意
I'd
思。
say first 3 viewers
4
on the
个
stream
众
who
筹，
will
然后我
guess
看了
the
样子
name
是
of
中
this
型机
robot
体。
right correctly, they will
我
also
估计
receive
这个
free
是
tier
很
without
恶
any
心的机体。
randomness or anything else. So we will just go through the logs and find these 3 persons. And around Monday or Tuesday, with everyone, when we will pick randomly all the winners, we will send you the tier. So go on, do your like wildest guesses and tell us what's this
his real
robot.
name?
What's his real name? His name is Ivan. It's a terrible name for a robot. Actually, it's actually a great name of a robot. I mean, okay, let's keep going. Robot romance.
这到底是什么？要猜？这架4个种草，然后长得像中型机体的这个机体名字叫啥名字？如果猜中的话，会抽取3位玩家送出这一架机体免费。各位可以科学上网去评论一下你自己的这个答案哦。
Because some people ask about it, so why not? There's a demand for this kind of stuff.
Actually, I see some questions. Can please make all the spider robots
造了4根大激光做的河马道士。
Okay, can you please make all the spider robots able to climb?
哎，河马我更喜欢翻译成黑船，因为真讲
Not
黑
at
船。
this point. We were thinking about it. This is what was in our minds for quite a while. But at this point, why we don't do this? There are 2 reasons. First, we will actually have to redesign all our maps to accommodate for this. So, I mean, if you will be able to climb every single obstacle in the game, I mean, there will be plenty of situations where, for example, I mean, let's imagine that on, I'd say, Dreadnought. This is one of the maps where we have a biggest height difference. It's the most vertical map that we have, but it was designed with this in mind because you can actually fight against someone who is on top of the structure, on top of the Dreadnought.
And now you just can climb up all the structures.
For example,
yes. It will break the game.
In a way, yes, because for example, if we take Valley, I believe, if you go to the highest point on the map, it will be really hard to make to fight against you. You will be like, especially annoying as some kind of like, for example, like if you take Fujin and take sniper weapons, people will actually hate you for this. There's some fun in that, but
他们说很多人会恨这个封神用一些长距离的武器，那肯定啊，想都不用想。
Maybe later, it's a good idea.
Can you add more feature like voice to communicate each team and add a report button for players?
他们在讲，哎，这个问题有意思啊，这个问题有意思啊。 可不可以增加一个语音频道在团队交流
Are we going to add a voice communication first and report button for players that you actually didn't?
这个有意思，这个有意思，这很多人想讲。
We actually consider.
我也想问一个问题，能不能加个小地图
button is something that we were thinking for quite a while. I cannot say when we are going to implement this.
But we consider it.
Yes, and for voice communication, at this point, the best we can give you is just suggest you to go to, for example, find the Discord channel and find a team that you would like to play with, because this is your best bet. If there's another reason why adding something like voice communication to the game is kind of challenging thing, because at this point we can, for example, moderate chat. For example, we can find all the cases of abuse or using like
or harassment
or using of like harsh language and so on and so forth. With voice, it's way harder. So, of course, you can opt in or opt out from using it. We're not going there at this point. Maybe we'll get to this later. Can we have a cave map? So the map that is actually mostly inside some kind of structure. Ooh, that's a fine idea to consider, but once again, we are not going to add any maps beside maybe one this year. As we've already
我在评论他们可不可以加一个这个小地图在这个游戏屏幕上，因为实在是太有用了小地图。
All of our attention.
Okay.
Attention. I believe with this kind of pronunciation, people are going to make lots of memes of this.
It's a Friday evening.
Anyway.
It's Friday evening and you're tired. So
it's actually really hot in here. You can say by like this how much. So anyway, we put all of our attention into remaking the old maps instead of making the new ones. So you will soon see the fruits of our direction. How soon? I won't tell you for now, but soon.
But no promises.
Okay, I think we have time for the last question. Let's go, let's find something good. Do something challenging, something that people will actually find, find fun to get answered.
根本不可能，好不好？
Okay, this is the question I like. I like this nickname, but I can't pronounce it.
So many letters.
I'll try. I'll do.
SZCZOROS.
Klezgzoros. That's right.
他不会读这个名字。
Thank you.
笑死我了。
I'm trying my best. Anyway, the question is, can you tell us something more about Bastion, the spider, and will we see the ghosts again? So the question is about the Bastion, the robot that was actually the precursor to Raijin and Fujin. If you try to Google it, warrobots Bastion, you will find quite a bit on this unreleased robot. And the question was, are we going to release to it, to get back to it? Maybe. And the second part of the question, could you remind me? I
was just seeking for another one question.
So, will we see ghosts again? So, by ghosts, this was the reference to the
Ghost.
like
灵魂?
2 or 3 Halloweens ago.
Yeah.
We had an event where.
I guess in 2017.
2016.
2016, yeah.
This was the year when I came to Pixonic.
Yeah.
This was my first year at Pixonic, so I remember it like very clearly.
It was my first year at Pixonic too.
What a coincidence! Is there some kind of connection between us and ghosts? Anyway, in that exact Halloween event, we had ghost robots roaming around the maps, like making people's devices very crashy. So they
crashy, creepy ghosts.
Yes, they added a lot of atmosphere to the maps, but they crashed quite a bit of devices, so we had to turn them off. But when they were available, they looked freaking amazing. So the question was, are they going back anytime soon? So the answer is maybe in some form.
我还在想那个
fun thing to remember.
他不会读那个名字，我笑死。
There's a question. Okay.
What about a robot from Evil Life that can mimic other robots?
早就是不选我的。
Yeah. When are Egyptian bots coming?
When are the Egyptian bots coming?
It's an interesting question.
There are two parts of this question. The first one, you seem frustrated by something.
Yeah.
You want to answer that?
I don't know.
他在说什么埃及机
Okay,
甲？
I'll do this. Anyway, this is the last question.
埃及机甲是什么鬼？
The question is, what about a robot from Evil Life that can mimic other robots' abilities? So, for example, you take a robot that can take
也出一
retribution
个
from mirrors, or
埃及的
a
这么
robot
一
that
个
can
机体了吗？
steal, I don't know, what's the right word? The ability with changing weapons
Can transform into
from Butch or from the ability to transform from Ragnarok Squad, right? Well, that's a fun idea to consider. But if we take into account that most of these abilities are linked to the actual builds of the robot, so for example, you cannot make the robot change weapon sets if you don't have 4 slots like Botch or Doc or Jesse do. Or you cannot change forms like to, for example, Tier if you don't have like these slots. Maybe it's a thing that we will try to do like in a year or 2 or something like this, because this is something that happens when you want to go like really crazy, like to break the game in all the conceivable ways. But right now, we are going for something like more singular, more focused. I hate this word. It's really hard to pronounce in the right way.
他刚才说成
Anyway, we're
fucker，
going for something
然后马上
like
意识到不
more-
对了，他说他
instead
发音
of
错
taking
误。
other abilities, we want to make
这是什么
something
鬼？
that brings something like from itself.
Yeah, something new, something very
Yes.
special. So,
And Egyptian robots.
Well, Egyptian robots coming. It's a very.
I'd
It's
like
a kind of lore question.
yes, this is the question to this
Like,
person
yeah.
in the hat right over here.
So, we saw a poster, Linda Kano.
You can be this person too if you want.
Okay. Thank you. So, we love these storylines. So
Change the
maybe.
voice, try to make it more like creaky.
So maybe one day Egyptian bots will be
come.
released.
Someday.
Yeah.
In some
Because-
timeline.
Because
Some year.
Egyptian myths are really, really awesome.
那他加上这个帽
Just
子
a
就不好
question for you, a lore person in a hat. If you would be picking from Egyptian like mythology, what
Okay.
gods you would like to see as a robot?
Maybe I don't know how it's pronounced correctly.
Say it
but
in like the
Izida maybe.
西的是什么东西啊？
yes.
Isis. So it's a goddess
救命啊！
that gives a life.
They show us like the wrong ISIS. It's
I
not
don't know.
great.
You get
I hate Google.
So Google, please help us.
有
Let's
他
look,
他们直接谷歌可还行。
Yes,
I
it's the right pronunciation.
don't like the gods of death because I love life.
It's actually right
Isis,
way to
Isis,
pronounce it.
yeah, Isis.
Thank you, Google.
She's great. She's great.
So what she would do? What do you think? What she would do in the game?
She will heal other robots.
Repair.
Heal and repair. Maybe.
他们说之后可能会出一个恢复
So
盾
you
的
would，pick Isis.
专门修理盾牌的或者能量盾的
Izida,
这么一个
how we
机
pronounce
甲，
it here.
这是什么东西？
I would go with something like. I don't know how it's pronounced too. What? Let's see,
我觉得这应该叫
let's look
英
for
语
this
学习大
in
会。
Russia first, and then we will try to call it the right way. It's called like just Bastet.
Yeah.
Bastet, like the cat goddess.
The gods of.
They're great.
Got it.
I hear what you want to say, and I'll take this
okay.
hat. So I mean, this would be a
帽
great
子
thing
换来
for
换
like
去
saboteur
是什么
robots,
意思？
like to try and drop all the bases from the tables to well, to crush some stuff and maybe eat some plants, because cats love eating plants that they shouldn't actually eat.
You know, we have
a great experience with cats.
Very weird idea. That's why we are not game designers.
Yes. We have no plans in the game, in a way. When we're at some, we will add the cat robot, I believe. So, I'm done with this.
这帽子怎么可以这么对待帽子呢？怎么可以这样子呢
？Say something.
Hello.
Hello. So, this was a great round of questions, I believe, and I hope that we answered them in a satisfying way, and we're
maybe not.
Thank you for coming to the stream. Thank you for asking your questions. Thank you for like joining us and trying to have this kind of conversations.
Thank you for being with us. So next time, Stan will be back.
He will.
He'll
he? He's actually just this kind of this picture. This is all that we have left of Stan. This is Stan. Meet him. No, I'm not going to remove it. It's actually a great laptop cover that I'm having made. That I have made customly by myself. So only $99.99, and you can have it in the same beautiful look. And this is my own business, not affiliated with Pixonic in any way. And obviously this is a joke, so I hope I won't get fired for this.
他刚才在说这个电脑是他自己做，然后后面跟他讲，跟我们讲是个笑话。
Thank you for watching.
哎，真是冷呐。
See you next time.
Yeah. Next time you'll see
Until next
Stan.
time. See ya.
OK， 就这么挂掉了，就这么直播结束了，各位。好的，那我们这里直播结束，我们这里下播了。那么回放会在之后进行上传的。那我们下次再见啦。下次啥时候呢？我香港这里不允许直播呀，见鬼了这个。哎，不管了，找机会就上来，怎么样？哎，我现在在安卓区，看到我就行了啊，我在安卓区，各位记住了，再见。